spent most of my morning listening to Buffalo Sports Talk, 550 WGR in Buffalo, an Odyssey sports station, which you can listen to on the Odyssey app for free. Also, you can listen to CBS Sports Radio, including the I D.A. show and the podcasts of this show inside the Odyssey app. So it's a one-stop shop for everything. It's excellent. And there was such pain, and I give so much credit to the hosts on GR because they were speaking to a crushed fan base that had likely not been crushed like this since the Super Bowls of the 90s. You're going back 30 years now. Because this was different than, I think, last year's AFC Championship game where they had finally taken that next step, but the Chiefs were defending Super Bowl champs. And they hadn't quite understood how to truly let Josh Allen cook, if you will. This is worse than the loss of the Texans a couple of years ago, again, still in their infancy and trying to build a winner. This is worse than, I think, any of the Patriots' losses over the course of the 2000s and 2010s because this was the postseason. This dates back before, I think, the end of the Bills dynasty where they were getting to the playoffs, but they were all long in the tooth and they were kind of over the hill. This was a team that by probably most observers' belief played in a Super Bowl-esque game on Sunday and had a 3-point lead with 13 seconds to play. If you win that game, you host the AFC Championship game. And the hosts did such a good job, I thought, of calmly explaining what had happened without having to scream and pound the fist because you know what? Everybody was broken. It was reading the room. The room wasn't everybody was throwing crap against the wall and screaming. It was mourning. It was a death because it was so close and it was pulled out from under them again. And so it was really, really compelling radio. And we just played some of that at the end of last hour. And I kept coming back to this thought. Yes, all of us on the outside of Bills Nation will be like, hey, man, you guys are going to be back. That Josh Allen dude, he's great. And when they met at midfield, Patrick Mahomes sought out Josh Allen, hugged him, said, great game, man, great game. We'll be doing this a lot. That the Chiefs, at least Mahomes, understands that Bills-Chiefs feels like the next 5 to 7 years of AFC supremacy. And it's easy for us on the outside to be like, the Bills will be back here. They're that good. Because we're not emotionally invested in every play, in every game, in every week, in every month, and every season of Bills football. For those on the inside of this bubble, yeah, there's optimism. There's got to be. I mean, Josh Allen's 25 years old, and you got him and you got a chance. And that was the number one defense in football this year. And Stephon Diggs and now Gabriel Davis look like amazing wide receiver tandem. Dawson Knox, Cole Beasley, that's a really good team offensively. Up until the final couple of minutes of this game, Leslie Frazier looked like a great defensive coach. Brian Daboll's been a hell of a play caller. They got the goods. And maybe that was the Super Bowl. Maybe the Chiefs roll over the Bengals, and maybe the Chiefs go into the Super Bowl and are just that much better than the Rams or the Niners. The reason this is so hard to get over is because Bills fans know that it might never come. It's easy when you're a fan of a team that has won a Super Bowl to be like, hey, ultimately you get there. It pays off. The pain pays off. Don't worry. I know the feeling. It's easy for a media member to be like, hey, they've got X, Y, Z, they'll be back. It's hard when you've lived it and you've never seen the green grass. 1990, Scott Norwood, wide right. 1991, Thurman Thomas loses his helmet. They get blown out by Washington. 1992, the Frank Reich game. Everything lines up. Oh, my God, we're in the Super Bowl again. Absolutely demolished by the Cowboys. 1993, you lead the Super Bowl at halftime. This is not going to happen again. Blown by in the second half by the Cowboys. They never got back. You don't know. That's the pain here. That's the tragedy. You don't know if it'll ever come back. And yet, it feels like this team should be really good for a while. But Brian Daboll's probably going to get another job. He's probably leaving. And Leslie Frazier could get a job as well. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that's a bad thing. But you were also there hosting the AFC Championship game as well. You didn't have to go to Tennessee. The Bengals had done your job for you. There wasn't some 15-2 squad that everybody was looking up to in the AFC. And there wasn't this looming monster in the NFC in the Super Bowl. It had lined up. It was there. And it wasn't like you showed up and you lost 21-10, 35-17. You lost with a lead twice and 13 seconds. It goes back to 13 seconds where if you just kick the ball short of the goal line, and Steve Tasker laid this out perfectly yesterday on One Bills Live. The play is not the squib, because the squib kick, the time doesn't run off the clock until you field the football. And if you just give yourself up, no time comes off the clock. So you can squib it, fall on the ball, it's still 13 seconds. And if you catch it before it gets to the second or third level of the coverage, you can get it at the 40-yard line. What you do is you high kick it so that it comes down inside the 10. The Bills would have the chance to fair catch it, but they get it at that spot. So let's just say, or the Chiefs rather, the Chiefs are waiting under the kick at the 5-yard line. You kick it high. They've got the decision to make. Either you field at the 5 and try to run it back to get it out to the 20, 25 or beyond, and you're taking seconds off the clock, or you fair catch it, and now your drive starts at the 5, not the 25. That special teams error is killer when it comes to 13 seconds, which honestly, you only have to defend 12 seconds because the Chiefs still need to kick the field goal on the final play. So you're only looking, how do we eliminate 12 seconds? We just have to squeeze 12 seconds off the clock. Kicking it out of the end zone was the only way, or one of the only ways, you didn't get anything on that kickoff. And then, of course, the 2 plays, 44 yards. You're playing so soft. We don't have to go back over this thing, but it's there. And you win that game, and you're home in the AFC Championship game against a Bengals squad that's new and young and inexperienced, and you aren't. Now, the Bengals are great, don't get me wrong, but it's set up. And Bills fans know the feeling of, yeah, but what happens if we never get back? What happens if it never sets up like this again? And that's the torture. That's the crushing part. And I'd love to tell you, don't worry. Cavs fans eventually got their title. Cubs fans eventually got their title. Red Sox fans, White Sox fans eventually got their title. Curse is broken. I'd like to tell you the same thing's going to happen. The Chiefs just went 50 years without a Super Bowl championship, then drafted Patrick Mahomes, and everything changed. You've got Josh Allen. But, man, you don't know. Dan Marino got 1 Super Bowl crack. He was in the NFC Championship, the AFC Championship game the next year at home against a wild card Patriots team that he should have beaten. They lose that AFC title game. He doesn't get back to another AFC title game for 8 more years. And then loses to the Bills at home. And you're thinking, well, at some point he'll get there, right? And it never materializes. So I understand the pain and the crushing nature of what happened. And I can't tell you, don't worry, just it'll be better. I think it'll be better. I hope it's better, but I don't know. And that's what makes that one so difficult.